You know that moment where something feels clear, and then a second later, it doesn't. Nothing changed. The situation is the same, but suddenly you feel this pull to go back in your head. Think it through again, say it a different way, just get it a little more right. That shift there, most people don't recognize what it actually is. Hi, I'm Nikki Gangemi, and if we haven't met yet, I help high achieving professionals quiet the mental overload so they can think clearly and trust their decisions again. And today, I want to talk about what self trust actually feels like in your body because it's probably not what you think. Most people think self trust is confidence, but it's not because you can feel completely confident in something and still be second guessing it 5 minutes later. Self trust isn't loud, it doesn't feel like certainty, it feels steady. And you usually notice it most when it's gone. That low level tension that won't quite settle, your mind pulling you back into something that was already done. This sense that something still needs to be checked, even when nothing actually does. That's not a thinking problem, that's a trust problem. And here's what's happening in that moment. Your attention moves off to what was already clear for you and onto how it's being received, how it might land, what it means, whether it's going to hold up. And your body feels that shift immediately because you're no longer anchored in your own read of the situation. You've handed that anchor to someone else. And the more you try to think your way back to steady, the less steady it feels. Here's a moment most people know well. Someone asks you to do something. You already know you don't want to. And instead of saying no, you say, let me check and get back to you. And you could feel it as it happens. You buy yourself time, you soften it, you make it easier to come back with something later. And it's not because you're unsure. It's because you don't want it to feel abrupt or disappointing or like too much. So you adjust in real time. And somewhere in that adjustment, you move slightly off of what was actually true for you. And that's not a communication style. That's self-trust quietly stepping aside. And it doesn't just show up in the small moments. It shows up in how you lead, how you decide, how you move through your days. Self-trust feels quieter than people expect. And it's not the absence of doubt, it's the absence of needing to resolve it before you can move. You say what you mean, and your body doesn't pull you back in to adjust it. You make a decision, and your mind doesn't keep reopening it. You move forward, not because you're certain, but because you're no longer looking outside of yourself for confirmation. There's this settled feeling, like nothing else needs to be done with it. And that's the difference. And once you feel it, you know exactly what's been missing. Now, here's where most people get caught up. They try to solve this by thinking more, analyzing it, reasoning their way through it. But this doesn't change at the level of thought. It changes in how you relate to what you're feeling. This is the framework I use with clients. It's called the CALM method. C is conscious of how you're feeling, not the situation, the actual sensation in your body. Where is it sitting? What does it feel like right now? A is aware of the thoughts behind it. What are you telling yourself in this moment? Because there's always a story underneath the feeling. L is lean into what else is possible. Not forcing a different perspective, but genuinely asking, what else could also be true here? And M is making a new empowering decision, one that doesn't just make sense, but actually settles in your body. That's the shift from reacting to what's being received back to what's actually true for you. That's what self-trust changes, not just what you decide, how it feels to move through life. If you've been noticing this pattern, the pull to check in, to adjust, and to make it land just right, that's exactly what I help people identify and shift in the Clarity Catalyst session. It's a focused conversation where we get clear on what's driving it and what would let your mind settle again. The link to apply is below. And if this landed for you, subscribe, because this is the kind of conversation I have here every week.